Have you ever caught yourself staring at a blank wall, completely lost in a world that doesn't exist? Your eyes are open, but you aren't seeing the room around you. Instead, you are somewhere else entirely. You are replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, finally delivering the perfect response you couldn't find in the moment. Or maybe you are living out a future that hasn't happened yet, a future where you finally get the closure you were denied. Your heart beats a little faster. Your breathing shifts. Your physical body reacts to an entirely invisible reality. To the outside world, you just look quiet. They see a calm surface, a static facade. But beneath that surface, there is a storm of activity, an entire cinematic universe, directed, written, and starring you. You construct the dialogue, you set the scene, you feel the emotional weight of a phantom reality. Sometimes it happens in the shower, the warm water acting as a threshold between the physical world and the internal one. Sometimes it happens on a long drive, the rhythm of the road pulling you deep into the subconscious, and very often, it happens at 2 a.m. when the noise of the world finally fades. The silence becomes a canvas, and your mind begins to paint. You imagine different versions of yourself, the version who didn't walk away, the version who set the boundary, the version who demanded respect. The fluid nature of your mind allows you to slip out of the static constraints of your daily life. Sometimes these scenarios are incredibly beautiful. They are filled with profound clarity, a deep sense of belonging, and the warmth of being truly understood. But other times, they are unexpectedly dark. You imagine a catastrophic argument. You imagine the sudden betrayal of someone you trust. You might even imagine your own absence, wondering who would actually care if you disappeared. You intentionally break your own heart over an event that has never occurred, and yet you cannot stop. You sit there letting the phantom pain wash over you, tears welling up in your eyes for a tragedy that only exists in your head. And if someone were to interrupt you in that exact moment, snapping their fingers in front of your face, you would feel a sudden, jarring jolt, like waking up from a deep, vivid sleep. You blink, and suddenly you are pulled back into the room, back to the physical world, back to the present, and often, there is a quiet sense of grief in that return, a strange reluctance to leave the sanctuary you just built. Society has a tendency to pathologize this behavior. They call it daydreaming, distraction, a lack of presence. They tell you to snap out of it, to stop living in your head and come back to reality. But what if the reality you are building inside your mind holds a truth that the external world refuses to give you? What if these fake scenarios aren't a sign that you are lost, but a profound signal that you are trying to be found? To understand this, we have to look past the surface. We have to look at what the brain is actually doing when you drift away. Psychology has a name for this invisible world. They call it compensatory fantasy. But let's strip away the clinical jargon and look at the raw human truth beneath it. Your brain is not just wandering aimlessly, it is acting as a highly advanced simulation room. Neurologists know that when the outside world demands nothing of you, a specific web of neural pathways lights up. It is the mind turning inward, scanning its own depths. When the external world feels too rigid, too static and unforgiving, your mind instinctively seeks a fluid environment, a place where it can manipulate the variables. Think about the times you imagine a fake scenario the most. It usually happens when you feel a profound lack of control, when a confrontation leaves you feeling small or deeply misunderstood, when the chaos of life strips away your autonomy. The real world is deeply unpredictable. People do not say the lines you want them to say. They do not offer the apologies you so desperately deserve. And the closure you need is rarely given. So, your subconscious steps in to compensate. It builds a secondary reality, a strictly controlled internal environment where you are the architect. In this space, you dictate the narrative. You create the exact scenario required to fulfill an unmet emotional need. If you feel powerless in your waking life, you construct a scenario where your authority is undeniable. If you feel invisible, you create a room full of people who are completely captivated by your presence. This isn't vanity, and it isn't delusion. This is emotional regulation in its purest form. Your mind is generating a brilliant, glaring signal, pointing directly to what your soul is starving for. It is a sophisticated survival mechanism for the psyche. When your nervous system is overwhelmed by the friction of reality, it requires a pressure valve. These fabricated worlds give your brain a safe sandbox, a place to process heavy, complex emotions without the terrifying real-world consequences. You can experience the intense catharsis of a screaming match without actually burning a bridge. You can feel the overwhelming warmth of deep intimacy without the paralyzing risk of real vulnerability. Here is the most fascinating part. Your brain cannot always distinguish between a real event and an intensely imagined one. The physiological response is virtually identical. When you finally win that argument in your head, your brain releases dopamine. Your breathing slows, your shoulders drop. You feel a genuine sense of triumph, a fleeting moment of peace. When you imagine a comforting embrace from someone you miss, your body genuinely relaxes. You are self-soothing through the power of your own neurochemistry. But the simulation room isn't just used for comfort. It is also a profound tool for rehearsal. Every time you run through a potential conversation before it happens, every time you map out the dozens of different ways a confrontation could unfold, you are practicing. You are gathering emotional data. You are trying to find the safest possible path through a highly dangerous world. You are attempting to turn the fluid, terrifying unknown into something predictable. It is a desperate, beautiful attempt to protect yourself, to ensure that when the real moment finally arrives, you will not be caught off guard. You will remain grounded. You will hold your ground, because in your mind you have already survived this moment 100 times before. Society has a very specific narrative about this kind of mind. They view your quiet stares as absence. They look at your stillness and assume you are simply unplugged from reality. They label it a weakness, a failure to maintain presence, a refusal to face the harsh, static nature of the real world. But this is where society gets it completely backwards. They are only looking at the facade. They see the motionless surface, but they are entirely blind to the depth beneath it. What they call a distraction is actually a masterpiece of psychological defense. You are not escaping reality. You are actively repairing it. Think about what it takes to build an entire world inside your head. It requires a profound level of emotional intelligence, a deep well of empathy, and a fiercely active mind. You are not a passive victim of your own daydreams. You are the architect of control. The external world is often an unpredictable, chaotic mess. It strips you of your autonomy without warning. It forces you into interactions that drain your energy, leaving you feeling voiceless and small. When you are wronged in the waking world, justice is rarely served. The people who hurt you usually sleep soundly. The apologies you so deeply deserve remain entirely unspoken. That lack of closure can be agonizing. It creates a static, heavy weight in your chest that you are forced to carry. So, your mind refuses to accept that deficit. Your subconscious quietly rebels against the unfairness of the physical world. It takes the raw, messy, painful materials of your daily life, and it begins to build. It constructs a hidden sanctuary where logic, fairness, and emotional truth actually exist. By imagining these fake scenarios, you are balancing the scales. You are reclaiming the power that was taken from you in the light of day. When you rewrite an argument in your head, making yourself sound articulate, calm, and unshakable, you are not being delusional. You are reminding yourself of your own capability. You are sending a powerful internal signal. I have a voice. I have boundaries. I deserve respect. You are anchoring yourself to a truth that the external world temporarily made you forget. This is not the behavior of a fragile, broken mind. This is the behavior of a mind that refuses to be broken. A mind that will construct an entire alternate universe just to keep its core identity intact. It is a profound, beautiful display of self-preservation. When you retreat into the fluid space of your imagination, you are giving yourself the empathy that others denied you. You become your own protector, your own fierce advocate, your own ultimate source of clarity. People who never retreat into their own minds often absorb the chaos of the world without a filter. They become defined entirely by what happens to them. But you, the architect, you filter the trauma through your simulation room. You process the pain. You dissect the interactions from every possible angle until they lose their venom. You are constantly creating order out of chaos. You are maintaining your internal compass in a world that constantly tries to spin you around. And while it might look like you are miles away to anyone watching, in those moments of intense internal focus, you're actually more grounded in your true self than ever before. But there is a shadow side to this sanctuary, a dark, quiet corner of the simulation room that we rarely talk about. Because not all of these fake scenarios are built to heal you. Some of them are built to break your own heart. Have you ever found yourself staring into the dark, intentionally constructing a nightmare? You imagine a catastrophic betrayal from someone you deeply love. You visualize the sudden tragic loss of someone irreplaceable. You picture a conversation where you are completely humiliated, stripped of your dignity. You let the imagery become so vivid, so intensely real, that your chest physically tightens. The tears spill over, and your heart aches with a very real, very heavy grief. Why do we do this? Why would an intelligent, self-preserving mind voluntarily subject itself to such profound phantom pain? On the surface, it feels like an act of internal sabotage, but psychology reveals a very different motive hiding in the shadows. This behavior is rooted in a concept called defensive pessimism. It is the mind's ultimate desperate attempt to protect you from the unpredictable nature of reality. Your brain knows that the world is fluid and that joy is incredibly fragile. Deep down, your subconscious is terrified of being caught off guard. It is terrified of the sudden static shock of unexpected trauma. So, it decides to rehearse the worst-case scenario. It exposes you to small, controlled doses of devastation. The logic of the subconscious is simple and heartbreaking. It believes that if you can survive the pain in your mind, you will survive it in reality. If you pre-grieve the loss of a relationship before it even ends, the actual goodbye won't shatter you. If you imagine the betrayal today, you are building emotional armor for tomorrow. You are trying to steal the element of surprise away from the universe. You are sacrificing your present peace to buy insurance against future agony. But this armor comes with a devastating price, because as we established, your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. When you rehearse the tragedy, your body physically endures it. Cortisol floods your system, your muscles tense, your heart races, and your physical body goes into a state of acute survival mode. You are paying the psychological toll of a catastrophe that has not even happened. And in doing so, you trap yourself in a static loop of suffering. You endure the pain of 1,000 cuts from a blade that doesn't exist. The very mechanism designed to protect your autonomy ends up holding you hostage. It creates an invisible wall between you and genuine connection. Because it is impossible to maintain true presence with someone when your mind is busy preparing for their departure. It is impossible to experience the clarity of joy when you are constantly scanning the horizon for the next disaster. The shadow of the simulation room is a powerful force. It reminds us that while the mind is a brilliant architect, it can also become a ruthless warden. So how do we navigate this beautiful, complicated space? How do we honor the profound depth of our internal world without losing ourselves to it completely? The answer is not to violently shut the simulation room down. You do not need to silence your mind or force yourself into a rigid, static state of constant reality. Your imagination is not a flaw to be cured. It is a psychological gift. It is the fluid, expansive space where your creativity, your empathy, and your deepest unfulfilled needs reside. But it must remain a sanctuary. It cannot become a permanent residence. When you use these fake scenarios to find clarity, to discover what you truly need from the people around you, you are protecting your autonomy. You are actively listening to the crucial signal your subconscious is sending you. But when you use them to constantly rehearse pain or to entirely replace the physical world, you are allowing the sanctuary to become a static trap. You are surrendering your presence. The ultimate goal of the architect is not to escape reality indefinitely. The goal is to bridge the gap between the two worlds, to take the courage, the voice, and the power you find in your internal world and slowly bring it to the surface. If you vividly imagine yourself setting a boundary in your head, let that be the final rehearsal for the real thing. If you imagine demanding respect, let that internal strength become your external posture. You deserve more than just phantom victories. You deserve real, tangible closure in the waking world. Do not let your physical life become a mere facade, while your true, vibrant self lives only in the shadows of your mind. When you find yourself drifting too far into the darkness, rehearsing tragedies that haven't occurred, gently pull yourself back. Feel the physical space around you. Take a deep, slow breath and intentionally anchor yourself to the present moment. Stay grounded. Remind your nervous system that you are safe here. You do not need to fight battles that haven't even happened yet. You do not need to pre-grieve a loss that does not exist. Your mind is a brilliant, highly capable protector, but you are still the master of the house. You have the power to step out of the simulation and step back into your life. You can return to the physical world with all the strength, empathy, and clarity you have gathered in the dark. And you can face whatever comes next, not as a victim of chaos, but as the author of your own reality. If this silence speaks to you, if you know exactly what it feels like to build entire worlds in the dark, tell me your story in the comments. You are not alone.